Well, hello, this is David McElroy with First Fusion Capital with another episode of the Human Potential Channel. I'm always looking for interesting people and perspectives that can be brought to the show so they can share with you how they think, how they've solved problems, so that you, the listener, the watcher, can leave each episode with something that can add a positive improvement to your life. Hey, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the more people we can help, and send us some guests or be a guest yourself. It's a very natural process. It's all unedited. It's just off the cuff. So at this time, what I'd like to do is let our new guest introduce himself, tell you how he got from school to here, what he's learned along the way, and we'll see what we can do together as an audience. So go ahead and give yourself an introduction.
Okay. Thank you, David. Hi, everyone. My name is Ji Zhao. So I'm from China. So I came to the US 2014. Now I'm a venture capital investor in Boston, doing early stage deep tech and biotech investment. So I got all my degrees from China, got a bachelor degree and a PhD degree in chemistry, and came here US for the first 6 years. I did postdoc research in universities. I did 2 postdocs, 2 years at UT Austin, 4 years at MIT. Then I started a battery startup with my professor. And then I left the startup and started a fund called Liquid Metal Ventures. It's been 2 years, and now I'm still working on that. Thanks. That's I think hope that can start, David.
Yeah, it's what I liked about what you were doing is you had a very clear vision of your specific community, what is lacking in help for that community, and how you can help others like yourself learn from what you've learned, right? And get into getting their businesses funded. So you've done some investing in a cross section of businesses. I can't remember the exact number you said, and they've all gotten additional rounds of funding. So that speaks well to your process for that to occur, right? We know that in the startup world, there's a very high level of failure for many, many reasons, even when they get their cash. So what is it about what you've decided to look for in those your firm has put money into that seems to have had them getting that next round of funding and moving on toward their success?
Yeah. Thanks for all those good words. Firstly, I think there's a multiple questions here, and let me try to answer it one by one. Firstly, I need to clarify that our record. So far we've been investing for 2 years, and we have 20 our portfolio, and so 22 is the first year we invest 9, and 23 we invest 11. So this is 24. We're about to invest 10. So make 30 in the whole portfolio for the fund one. Then we'll let it go and see how we exit. So in terms of the record, 22, the first year we invest 9, and now I can pretty confirm that 9 of 9 raised next round. I mean, some already closed the round, some is still in the process, but there's no doubt they will raise it in the 6 months, or maybe in the next 3 months, because their progress are way more beyond what they need to achieve for this round. So just a little bit time to get the money into their account, but I'm no worry about it. So this is, I would say, we are lucky, but also a kind of a good record and can support us to raise fund 2. I would say fund 1, we probably can say now we are survived. We are we survived, but I would not say it's a big achievement. But think about it, we started from scratch. I would say it's been proved like we bring in values to the world, and we can survive. That's the reason, right? Yeah. So that's I think that I will just stop here, and maybe we can talk a little bit more after, David.
Yes. So what would your target company look like? Obviously, there's a world full of companies. How do you decide which ones you're even going to consider?
Yeah. So yeah, we do have a special scope. We are based in Boston. So firstly, there's a lot of innovation here in Boston from like prestigious universities like MIT, Harvard, but also the research center or talented people around here. So we actually look very closely or work very closely with the Asian community. So Asian community only take around 3% population in US. However, in the high tech field or in the research field, the number is actually pretty high, much higher than that. If you see the campuses inside MIT Harvard campuses, the more than 20%, it can be recognized as top researchers or top innovators. They are Asian guys. Uh, but if you see the startup numbers coming out from MIT Harvard campuses, the Asian run startup only take about 5%. There's a huge gap there, and we are specialized to target this kind of people to help them start their business from 0 to 1. And in that way, we really have good investment opportunity, and we can bring value there, and we have a good returns.
So you would say that the larger percentage basis of those startups in tech that you
Right.
look at are Asian. And would you say that's a cultural thing? Is it something where parents want children to get higher education? They recommend that technology is a good thing for them to study and that it draws a lot of very smart people. Is that what's causing it, or is it something else?
Well, I'm not an expert guy. I didn't do the research there. But this is the truth here, and everybody can see it. Like Asian kids and so, relative the lot of Asian kids in the schools that are doing research. I think that that definitely related with culture. Like myself, the Asian kids normally pay a lot of attention on the kids' education, parents on the kids' education. I think that's one of the reason. But I don't know, honestly, I don't really know the why it's like that. Uh, what do you think, David?
Well, obviously each culture has its specialty. I know a number of Asian people, and
Yeah.
through them, their parents. And I've noticed that in the Asian culture, if I can make a broad general statement, there's a very high value for education. And that I also noticed, I asked some of the girls, the Asian girls that I was dating, I said, so who'd you date when you were in high school? Oh, no, no, my parents, there's no time for dating in high school. Oh, well, who did you date when you're in college? No, there's no time for dating in college. You have to study. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's that way, but that came up so many times. And I thought, okay, so there is a focus culturally to
Yeah.
to grow now, to put off till the future, just having fun for the greater good of yourself, your family, I guess ultimately your children, and that you would want them to have the same kind of thinking that I described.
Yeah, at this point I agree with you. Yes, and I would say like Asian culture treasure education a lot. Like they want the kids to have good education, they want the kids to have good scores, and also uh they treasure like to be a researcher to get degrees. It's very good thing. Uh, yeah, I think that in that way, they guide their kids to have good scores, to doing research, to become a professional in some field. And I think that that's definitely a culture thing. Yeah.
So if we now look back at your firm, there's
Yeah.
lots of Asian intelligent people. So is
Yeah.
just being a good researcher, having good grades and being intelligent, is that all you look for in a company in which you're going to invest, or is there more there?
Uh, Definitely there are more. I would say so doing investment to a startup, we're looking for people definitely they are real entrepreneur. So the tech is one important part, but not all. So there are a lot of talented people. That some people they are just be good at research. They can be researcher. They can really contribute in that way. But some people they are really talented good at innovation, and but they are also entrepreneur type of person. They could commercialize their technology into product and benefit the world. But there's also their, like how to say, their mission. So we're just looking for that specific group of people and to support them. But uh, some people they're being like that, but because the culture differences, or because the lack of business exposure, things like that. So they are those kind of people, the type of people that still need relative long journey to learn and to start. And because we Asian, we understand what they need, what their status, so we can help them really understand them and bring in what they really need to facilitate their process from 0 to 1. In that way, we do some add-on value, and then we can have good investment opportunity.
So you will meet with someone and you'll see that they either are or have on their team
Yeah,
brilliant people that are good researchers, but
yeah,
those researchers don't necessarily have business skills, and those entrepreneurs don't necessarily yet have the fully developed business skills. So
right.
do you help pair off or put together some of
Mm-hmm.
what they might be lacking so that they have someone that has not only the business, the research skills, the
Mm-hmm.
intelligence, the
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurial spirit, but also the understanding there needs to be a business economic value to what they're doing in order to make it work for everybody. We're not just researching for the sheer love of learning. Now, you mentioned something I think is a very key component here: mission.
Mm-hmm.
So, when someone has a mission, why is that so important if we have all the other pieces we've discussed in place to driving the higher probability that they're going to succeed?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Well, I'm still learning and to digest what I experienced or what I saw, but I do see that that's one of the key if you want to uh do a great startup. You have to have a very good vision. So you see, you want to doing some great things. You want to achieve something, bring the great values to the society, and it's not only for yourself, definitely. Another way, if you just do it for yourself, for wealth or for whatever, you cannot support yourself to overcome those difficult times, and you probably will give up. You probably will look for some easier job to do. So real entrepreneur, definitely they have much bigger vision than people normally want to achieve, want to pursue. And that will support them overcome all those difficulties to, spend years of thing, hard working and to gather resources to learn from failures and finally to achieve their goal. So I think that's definitely very key. And luckily, I think a lot of real researchers, and some of them are entrepreneurs also. They mostly have some similar visions. So it's kind of easier to to get access those kind of people and to have some good opportunity to invest.
So
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah,
a leader, in
yeah,
order to rally others, because not all people want to be a leader. They're not interested in
no,
that. They're not comfortable with that. That's not what's important to them. So
right.
for an entrepreneur to also be a leader and
Mm-hmm.
draw together
Yeah,
followers that are willing to I guess see their vision, right? Be excited by their vision so that as a group they feel like they're doing something for a higher purpose. You just said that just trying to
yeah,
make a lot of money, it's not enough. It's
no.
not enough to pull you through the years of hard work. So, do you think that there is a misunderstanding by what's become popular? It's very popular to be an entrepreneur now. It's a very sexy thing to say, but it's not so easily done. I can speak from my life experience. I've gone for years working on things that never produced the income that I was looking for, but I
Mm-hmm.
have learned along the way. And
Yeah,
and often I pursued things that turned out once I got into them, I found that's not what I really wanted. But I learned along the way. I've met a number of people in the platform that I'm working on now in private banking. I met them on platforms that failed. So
Hmm.
maybe you can speak to what you see you
Hmm.
have learned or
Yeah.
other entrepreneurs have learned by working on projects that just didn't work out. They ran out of time, and it takes time and money, right? So you can run out of time because you ran out of money. Great idea, but you're not going to get to the finish line because you can't eat, right?
That's true. Yeah, that happens. I would say that most of the cases, that's what really happened because success is, it's hard. And from MIT, the statistics tell us that only 2.5% startups can reach to unicorn, and that is a way higher than average. So, but I guess you also have the people always also have the idea how low you can reach to a unicorn. You see a startup too. Um, and also, I also have my personal experience that I completely agree with you that you learn from what you're doing. So this VC actually is my fourth business. I start from scratch. So first one is e-commerce. So when I was a postdoc at MIT doing research, I realized I want to be entrepreneur. I want to start a battery startup. However, because I've been doing research all my life, I don't really know about customer, about market. So I think maybe I should do something to learn. So first thing I do is e-commerce. I start an eBay business online. I selling coins. That's with no nothing business with my research or with my future entrepreneur. But doing that, I got a lot of experience dealing with customer, dealing with the marketing, and dealing with money. So that gave a lot of experience, even though actually the whole e-commerce was not really that successful. But then I realized I need to practice my leadership. So I joined the student organization. It's called MIT CEO Club. I then become the president there. And then I serve in the community. I was kind of a community leader. Then I really doing that seriously to practice my leadership and to build up connections, to learn from entrepreneur and investors around. And it turns out very successfully. I built up a lot of connections, and that actually paved the road to become an investor later on. But then I started a battery startup. But honestly, I exit early, but it's the battery startup is still ongoing. But honestly, I see my career track was not aligned with the battery startup. That perfectly. So I think I probably fit in another place better than I exit and to do this venture capital. But but I mean, 4 years ago, I never thought about I could be an investor. But what I'm doing, one project by one project, learning on the way, and pave the road, and lead me to be here, and turns out to be a very fit. So I like this job more than ever any other I ever done, and I think that probably so from my point of view, I see this is the best fit for me. But we'll see. But if I fail here, I feel like it's okay. That just tell me that probably this is not the best fit for me. But I will keep working on to seek for another opportunity, do another business or startup or whatsoever. There's a finally there's some place fit me that I could contribute all my effort and bring resources, bring values, then I can, make some kind of successful other places. But sooner or later, but I'm on the track. I'm learning, I'm become better, and I'm contributing more, and I can finally, find my place.
So, what I hear you describing that's so important is you clearly see that life and business is an endless process of learning, trial and error. You come up with an idea of what you think based on what you know that you want
Yep,
to do. And when you
yep,
get into it, now what happens is life gets in the way, right? I've always
yep,
found for me, I have concepts of what I think will happen, but then I get
yep.
out into reality. Reality is different than what I imagined it to be. So you have to adjust. So would you say that a successful entrepreneur, and I'm including you in that category, is
Mhm.
always coming up against what they didn't expect, seeing what they've learned, and then moving forward? And they have the expectation, almost by faith, something will work out. I'm not sure what that looks like, but I'm going to just keep going, learning, bringing people together. You mentioned you invested a lot of time in a community center, or is it an Asian community center? Is that what it is? And
Yes, yes.
so not only did you develop personal skills and how to communicate better with people, how to be a better leader, but you started
Mhm.
making contacts. Because isn't the business that you're in about contacts? Isn't good deal flow with an investment company all about how they've developed contacts so they get good deals? You could spend your whole life looking at deals that shouldn't be looked at if you don't have the right deal flow. And that cultural connection, that community work, giving first before you expect it to get, has brought you some connections that is now bringing you deal flow. What other things do you and your group do to continue to bring deal flow for you to consider?
Yeah. And that's a very good question, David. I think you point out a very key point. So doing investment, the deal flow is definitely the key. So you have to have the good deal flow. So it's not about you have good judgment. Definitely judgment, you must have a good one. But particularly for early stage, you have to have access to find the good deal, and you have the ability to seal the deal. And that's actually very challengeable. Um, so I think being an Asian, as I just mentioned here, because we have a lot of very good, talented customers. So let's see the investment, the deals kind of our customers. So there's a lot of top scientists. Some of them are naturally entrepreneur, so we can recognize them. We have very trust connections, and we can have the conversation smoothly. And if we can really bring resources they need, we can be very much helpful to them, and then we probably can have a seat in their deal ceiling. But that's definitely a thing. The other way is because I was like so-called top researcher. So I naturally understand them, not only Asian group, but also the top scientists, how they think about things, what is real status, what the stage they are now. If they say there's a word called technology readiness index. So it's zero from 0 to 10. Say 0 is only an idea. The 10 is all mature. It's ready to do the industry, manufacturing, commercialization completely. So the first time entrepreneurs, they probably don't really know where they are. They need to some coaching, they need some feedback, and they need to some you know how to better position themselves and to make a better plan for the future. And we can actually help them, because I understand I done that from 0 to 1, and in the past years I almost know every startup founders in this community, Asian guys. So I know the failure ones, I knew successful ones, and I probably got a lot of data can help me to understand what the new founders are, what the status they are, and what problem probably they have, what abilities they need to develop. So we really, firstly, we're very close. Secondly, we really can bring the values that they need, and we have them facilitated from 0 to 1 in that way. But another thing we can bring the value is we bring the mainstream, resources to them. Again, as Asian guys, if some of them are like new immigrants, they don't really have very solid network here. They don't really understand the society much. So, but if they want to do startup in US, they must, get the resources. They must connect with the mainstream resources, like the big VCs, like the market, like the industry, big players. So I think our mission as this fund is, first, this side, we know those Asian guys, we understand them, they are really talented. But the other way, we want to bring in the mainstream resources to them, so that from after they finish from 0 to 1, they can go from 1 to 10 to 100 to 2,000, step like that. So if we can bring two parts of values from 0 to 1 and from 1 to beyond, and we can probably secure our investment opportunity. As you just mentioned, yeah, it's a good deals. Sometimes there's a lot of competitors and other investors want to invest, but if we can bring the most of the values comparing with other investors, we probably have our competitiveness and we can secure good deals, and that can give us a good return. I think that's the logic.
So did I hear you correctly that in some cases you serve as being an incubator, a early stage consultant to give someone insights into what they need to do to be considered? When you look at their business plan, their business model, what do you look for in that investment deck so that you can recognize they have clarity on what they're attempting to do?
Yeah. I don't always use incubating because we are now doing that very heavily. It's not that systematically, but sometimes we do that in that way. But still, we are a new fund. We don't really have a systematically courses or a system to support. But you know. Again, and there are already a lot of incubators around. There are a lot of programs around. So when I was a postdoc preparing my battery startup, I attended some program. I got I think almost 500,000 non-diluted grant. And with that grant, also there's the coaching, the mentorship things. I even have 2 advisors that talk with me monthly. However, I still feel like I didn't get enough. I didn't learn enough. I thought the key problem is not the advisors assume I know something already, but I know nothing about US, the markets, the people, how to do business. I almost know nothing. So there's still a huge gap there. So when talk about incubating or coaching things, I think because this group of people, Asian group of people, they're relatively small, and people probably don't really understand what they didn't know, what they don't know. So you need to, really understand what they need and then give them what they need and that they can grow. So it's not really about, if you say from 0 to 1, it's not about they are now 0.8, it's just a little bit gap you can fill in. Sometimes they're really close to 0, even though they're entrepreneur type of person, but they need to be from 0 to 0.5. And then the other resources coming in, they can accept it, they can understand, and they can move on. So we're actually doing some very early. So let me give you an example. There is a startup coming up from MIT. They're actually not really there's 2 founders are Asian. There's one actually American, but still he's like a Ph.D. student. He doesn't really know business. So the first conversation I had with them, I just told them, so you have to make the shares clear, right? So normally, 2 co-founders, CEO and CTO, and the professor as advisor, the range is like something and something. So you guys can go back to talk with around 2 weeks to say what's the best range you guys can have, and you have the set settled. We can move on, talk about the business plan, about the deck, about things like that. So step by step, I give them some coaches, and they also appreciate that. And we finally close the deal. We bring other investors leading the deal. We also invest too, so that we close the deal. And I was granted advisor shares. So I very appreciate that. But I mean, the key value I bring in is actually the very beginning, because I'm a researcher and also Asian, and also a new guys to US, so I understand those things. I can help them start from 0. I think that's the unique value I bring in.
And I'm guessing that you enjoy that. It's
I did.
fascinating to you to coach somebody and watch them actually change and transform.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I really enjoy that. Of course. I also learned along the way. Sometimes they ask me questions I don't really know. Those I just learn. Um, a little bit more and to go back to discuss with them and to solidify my understanding. So that's really a joy learning process as well.
So with all that you've learned since you thought about doing your first venture
Yeah.
and where you sit now, still knowing that there's a world, a lifetime of things to continue learning,
Of course.
what do you think would have been helpful to you had you known it earlier?
Okay, that's a very good question. Let me think. Uh, I think that still, so I think people ask me that question too. So I saw that also. I think I really learned a lot after I came to US. Honestly, to say that I know maybe my friends doesn't like that, but you know, so I got the best education in China. Honestly, I went to the best school. It's just that I'm at the China's MIT, and I went to the best institute to doing my PhD training, and with academician in China, the best, the highest level research. But when I first arrived to US, honestly say, I feel like, God damn, I came too late. So if I if I could get opportunity to come here early, I probably learn much more. I probably be quite different people, or I start this venture years earlier. I think the two things I learned in US very, very important. The first thing is to discover yourself, to know yourself, to who you are. So everybody is different, and you have your own gift. You have your own pattern. Someone good at something, someone bad, good at something, bad at something. So it's like like a spider draw. Then you have something you're good at. You have something you don't good at. You're not good at. So you have to find the position in the world. What kind of job fits you, and you develop your pattern and fit in there. In that way, you really contribute the maximum yourself or achieve yourself the best shape. But I didn't realize I was an entrepreneur until I came to MIT, until I got inspired by a lot of people around me say, okay, I'm not only a researcher, I can do a startup. I can, bring our technology into the world and commercialize it and benefit other people, which I really feel that's very, very valuable, and that's an amazing thing. But before that time, I was, positioning myself to be a researcher, then a professor, because I got a PhD, because I got so long research training, naturally lead me to there. But actually, is that the best fit for me? No, definitely not. But I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. So that's the thing. To figure out who you are, is that the thing I came to US to learn. Another thing is entrepreneurship. So honestly, uh, China is a huge market too, a lot of entrepreneurs, but the ecosystem is a little bit different. But here I see, like, if you're doing some good technology, you bring good product, you really contribute to the world, then you get reward. And the entrepreneur, it's all about try, fail and try, learn what you're doing. And that's actually against the culture we have in China. Because in China, I went to the best school because I made little mistake. I made mistakes because I practice a lot, because I got training day by day a lot. So you want to make a inner system become perfection, but they don't encourage you to go beyond the boundary. It doesn't encourage you to explore, to discover new things. That's quite different idea, thinking, quite different thinking. But here, from step by step, from the material I can learn here in US, I know entrepreneur, what's the entrepreneur really about. So I get amazed. I think yeah, that's I actually am kind of naturally that kind of person, but I didn't know And now I know I'm an entrepreneur type of person, and I know how to do the things step by step. So now become a real me. So I feel so good about that.
Let me say something that I've noticed in many successful people. I know
Mm-hmm.
people that by discipline
Mm-hmm.
are engineers. That's what they learned.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
right.
people that are attorneys. That's what they learned.
Yeah.
And they're not in that field. But they learned a system of managing thought and processes to solve problems. And it's
Yes.
that discipline that I'm thinking you developed in getting your PhD. There's a rigor to what you did that
Mm,
requires a huge amount of dedication, overcoming obstacles, dealing with things that aren't necessarily fair, having to understand things that don't seem to make sense. In fact, having to maybe answer questions in a way that you know gives you a good grade, even though you think,
mm.
there's a better answer to that, but I wouldn't get the good grade if I said it.
Right.
So,
Right.
so there's a mastery in the give and the take and the adjustment and understanding your project.
Yeah.
So being able to get a PhD, you've lived it. It's a gargantuan. In fact, I know people that are medical doctors that don't practice medicine because they found they loved business. They are
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. And I know doctors that in fact, I knew a dentist in Chicago, excellent dentist, very highly paid, but he loved to build $1 million houses. And so he called himself Dr. Build. And he built houses just for fun, but made more
Okay.
money building houses than he did in his dental practice.
Okay.
I know an attorney that started out as a personal injury attorney, and he
Mm,
doesn't practice law anymore. He's a
mm.
multifamily real estate developer,
Right.
and he loves it, and he's very good at it. But if he hadn't had any of these people, hadn't had the discipline, learned the structure of how to solve and think, they wouldn't
Mm,
have been able to go into what they love doing now and be as successful as they are. So, what did
yeah.
you learn in your PhD training that you're now applying that way of thinking to your entrepreneurial pursuits where you can see that
Mm,
they transfer?
mm. Yes, David, I completely agree with you. Yes, that training is definitely very, very valuable. I think there are several things. I never really summarized that, but I think at least there are several points. Firstly, is um, PT training tell me that give me a confidence that I can learn and doing things independently. But now I'm running a firm, with a firm. I'm the only GP. That means I have to deal with everything, like financial and deals, fundraising, etc., etc. I definitely have a lot of people help me, but you need to have you know, in charge of everything, doing things independently. That's one of the key you have to being a leader, right? So I think that's PhD telling me that because when I was a PhD student, I was just thrown to a new research field with nobody really support me. So I have to do it step by step and to learn and to handle everything. Just if I doing some experiment wrong, that probably cause a fire, cause explosion or cause something wrong.
Yeah.
And if I didn't fix it, nobody helped me to fix it. How even nobody helped me to clean it. So I have to, deal with things. Sometimes I go back to sleep and then I realize maybe something wrong. I just go back to the lab again at 2 a.m. to deal with things. That happens a lot of time. That give me sometimes very, very nervous time, but also get trained that you have to deal with everything by yourself independently, think about that thoroughly, and solve the problem responsibly. That's a independent working that give me that training. The second thing is about to start from 0 to 1. I think so. I did PhD not only but also 2 postdocs, and every time I move to a new place, I have to work on new subject, and you have to spend time to learn what people have done and what's the problem now you need to solve, and what technique you have, what method you have, and how to evaluate, how to process, things like that. So I think being a PhD, having a PhD degree, should give people you have the ability to learn a new field within very relatively short time, start 0 to 1. And within short time, you not only can learn it, but also you can, being as the frontier of that field and to contribute. And that give me a lot of good training, but doing business may be similar. If you're into a new field, definitely need to learn, you definitely need to develop skills, and finally you need to perform and outperform other competitors, then you can win. You really earn a lot of money. A similar thing, but PhD and the postdoc training is like more, more seriously. You have to really handle those things. You have really compete with other top tier researchers. They're all smart, all hardworking, and they give you a very, very strict training on those skills. So basically now people ask me, say, hey, you were like a pure researcher. How can you be an investor? I think, okay, I think the finance part to me not that hard, so I can learn it since not only I have the ability to learn, but also here that so many VCs, so many people doing investment, so many resources around me, so I can easily get something if I don't know. Within very short time, I can learn it. So it's not that hard. Yeah, I think those give me a little bit confident, to doing investment.
So
yeah, that's really good training.
it
Yeah.
sounds to me like the PhD program has been a discipline that taught you how to go where you know very little or nothing, and have a
Exactly.
structure of how you start from nothing and build up to one. And that
Exactly.
isn't that an essence of what an entrepreneur has to do? They start with an idea, which is nothing, right? It's just a raw idea. Most
Yeah.
people have great ideas and do nothing. Very few people will move forward and execute on their ideas because doing it is not easy, right? You're usually
Right.
wrong. You usually make mistakes, and the path
Right.
is different than you imagined it would be. It's just the way that it goes. But education for you has not just been about going to the university. Here's the list of things you need to know. I can do that. But moving beyond that, you still have the process, but you go to a world where there is no curriculum. Here isn't the book for you to learn. You have to go outside of where there aren't books and
Yep.
use a structure of thinking, a discipline to allow you to
Exactly.
learn from nothing.
Exactly, David. Yeah, exactly. So you can hear like my English is not good because I didn't really study here, but because I have just
Do you know
structured
why you don't
thinking.
hear my Chinese? Because I can't speak any words. So my hat is off to you. Your ability to speak English is impressive, very
Thank you.
impressive.
Thank you so much. Because even back in China, we have to use English to do the scientific research things, to publish paper in English, and we have to use English as in working. But still, my speaking is not really good. But because I have the structured thinking, I have the critical thinking, I can talk with other startup founders, even they're American or they are the top researcher or top tech guys in different sectors. We can communicate good because my mind is okay. So I can understand. I can ask the critical questions. I can understand what they say, but my speaking not that perfectly, but they can happen to understand. That's enough. So the communication can be good, and we can get trust, and we can invest in. Yeah, I mean the key part is still as you mentioned, the training is really valuable, but the entrepreneur thinking, that I think that's also valuable. That I didn't get in my PhD training. I came here and to learn.
So I guess what you're saying is I know many people that speak multiple languages, and they are more comfortable in speaking certain languages, sometimes their mother tongue, sometimes not. And when they make a comparison of how easy it is for them to speak the language that's their first language compared to the other language they're speaking, then that comparison in their own mind appears to be inferior. But it's not. In fact, I find that accents are fascinating to hear how somebody has come from, because an accent really is the result of your primary language. So words that you put into a new language have the bits and pieces or sounds of your primary language, right? Because that's
Yeah,
what you've known since you were a baby.
yeah.
But you're very articulate, very easy. I never had difficulty understanding any of your terms.
Thank
I'm
you.
imagining what you might be saying is that sometimes you're working to articulate what you think in English, and you think, oh man, if I was speaking in Chinese, I would say it this way. So you have to go through that transition, right? Which feels awkward, shall we say? But you do a superb job. I'm impressed. So I'm very pleased that we were able to do this show. I look forward to watching and talking with you as your success continues. If you were to share with our audience
Hmm.
one thing that
Hmm.
they could do today,
Hmm.
not some long, cumbersome thing, but something simple they could do today
Hmm.
that you know for a fact that they would just stop thinking about it and do it. It would have an
Hmm.
impact in improving the quality of their life. What would that simple thing be?
Yeah, David, that's a very good question. Can I speak a little bit more? Just more than
Yes.
a few words. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think I would like specialize to say to the new immigrant, and particularly from Asian countries like East Asian. We share the same culture roots. I just have a lunch with a Japanese girl, but I think people here came from that culture that mostly they didn't discover who they are. And so my experience is like if you want to do something, you feel like you are interested, you just do it. And along the way, you will figure out who you are, and you probably can find yourself a better position. I used to be a community leader, a volunteer. I hold more than 200 events, social events, everything, including dating, including dinner, including a lot of things. I was a battery guy, so I hold some natural, energy related, climate tech related, or material related things. That's definitely benefit myself. But sometimes I hold biotech things. I held other things, AI things, with no relevant with myself. But I really benefit from it because I'm kind of later on I feel like okay, I develop a lot of people skill along those, and I get a lot of trust. I build up a lot of even I received a lot of recognitions, and that paved me to be an investor. Now, like some people told me, like, "Hey, Jimmy, you are actually a social king in Boston," because many people knows me because I did a lot of events, and I really doing that with my heart, and people know me. I contribute a lot. But at that time, back to that time when I was doing that, I thought, what the fuck I'm doing? I there's no relevant with what I'm researching on or what my battery startup about. But I just feel like that's I kind of good at doing that, and I really enjoy doing that because I bring values to the people, the speakers, attendees, or the organizer. Everybody benefit from it. I feel like this thing worth to do. But later on, that led me to be an investor. So just in short, I think many people were trained to be something, just like you just mentioned, a dentist or whatever, right? And they can be successful. But that may not be the true people they are. But they need some time, some exploring to figure out who they are. Then, if they can be a natural themselves, probably they'll live a happier life. And now I'm really happy. No, the yesterday was President Day, but I left my office 11 p.m. I came here 10 a.m. But every day I work so hard. But to myself, it's like I'm playing a computer game. I love my favorite computer game. I couldn't stop. Even sleeping or eating, I don't really care because this game is so interesting. I cannot stop playing. But my life is so good, and also not only I feel good, like the deal I invest in, the founders, they really like us, and the people work with me. I have tens of people work with me part-timely. They all feel good. And the VCs, you can say they are competitors, but they're also willing to collaborating with us. They share their values. We are working together collaboratively, and everybody, around us, they feel happy working with us. So I feel like, okay, 4 years ago, I never thought I can be an investor. 4 years ago, I never thought can be do that start. We can do this from scratch. But now it seems like I'm living in a game, and I enjoy this a lot. I never be so happy in my life. But who knows? I think the people who maybe feel that he is not really living a perfect life, maybe they give some try to explore, to figure out who they are. If they find their position, their talents, they just need some time to practice and to have better skills, and sooner or later they can live a better life. So figure out who you are. I think it's very important.
That's extremely powerful statement to make. So I think that that question of who are you can be directed. You can look for road signs. So what our audience can do is they say, well, is there something that interests me that I've been ignoring?
Yeah,
And
right.
and what about that might be useful to somebody else? So I'm interested in something, let me explore it. And what about that might be helpful to somebody else? So you're outside of
Mm,
your own concerns only. And what I
right.
heard you describe, the reason you're so happy now, not only have you
Mm-hmm.
found something to work in that interests you that you didn't even
Mm,
really know before, right?
right.
Originally, you didn't know it,
Right.
but you've noticed that you're helping other people. And I think that
Yes.
if people would really be honest with themselves, set aside everything else in the world,
Mm,
when you have a positive impact on someone else's life, that's what makes life worth living. I'm not suggesting when you can't pay your bills and your car isn't running and you're going to be homeless. I'm not saying that it's easy to think about other people. But what I am saying is
mm,
that if you have a place to sleep, you have food to eat, your car is running, you got a job, you can pay your bills, and
mm,
it's not enough, you need to ask yourself, okay, I got a lot. I'm grateful. But what's missing? Maybe there's something that interested me I've been putting off. Let me look into that. And what about that might be helpful to somebody else? And I wonder if that would feel good to me. Is that a fair statement?
it is, David. Yes. Yes. That's absolutely.
You're a
Yeah.
delightful guy. Do this. If somebody wanted to reach you to talk to
Mm-hmm.
you about probably a tech project, particularly if
Mm-hmm.
they're from the Asian community, because you have a
Mm-hmm.
business focus to help other Asians make the transition that you have, how can they reach you?
Oh, yes. So you can just find me on LinkedIn. Yeah, my name is Ji Zhao. Just search. There's only one. And also I have my email. We have the website, Liquid Metal Ventures. Just search it online. You Google it, and then you'll find the email. Contact me. Yeah.
Now, I will put that down below in the explanation of this. I'll send you a copy of this once I got it recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Thank you so much for your time today. You're an absolutely delightful human being. I can see why people enjoy working with you. And I'm very
Thank you.
pleased that I've had a chance to meet you. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you over time. Hey, audience, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share this with your friends. Help us build our base so that we can do good things, not just for ourselves, but so that we can raise the spirit of other people, help them solve their problems. And as a group, we can make the world a better place. Thank you so much for your time on behalf of First Fusion Capital and our wonderful guest, Jimmy, today. Thank you so much.